and wear the same clothes. That's it. You relate to Velma, Mindy? Really? How so? Because I definitely don't see it reflected in the show whatsoever.
My original character, Blondie.
Now, for what it's worth, Mindy has been the lightning rod of hate for the series, which is understandable considering that her name is plastered all over it. But the show creator and one of the main writers is Charlie Grandy. Charlie here has been working with Mindy for many years now, so it's not surprising to see the two team up for Velma. Both deserve criticism, but Charlie much more so than Mindy, since, you know, he made the show. Like, the animation studio that made this is literally called Charlie Grandy Productions. Now, I'm a temperate idiot who can't even cut his own food. An interesting spin, but that does not make it inherently good. I actually suspect that the creators of this show were like, let's do the characters like, Always Sunny characters with their irreverent personalities. That'd be funny. Which my theory is bolstered by the presence of Glenn Howerton from Always Sunny, who plays Dennis on the show. You got him as the voice of Fred. The Scooby Gang, but combative jerks? That's kind of like rubbing against the grain here. And it does not work at all. Like, that kind of approach works for Sunny because that was the original concept. And that their characters are so outlandishly awful that I enjoy seeing them suffer. But the characters in Velma are just slightly awful, not like abhorrent. But they also don't get the same level of comeuppance as the characters of Sunny. So instead, we're like supposed to, I guess, root for them? I don't think so. Don't like them. Also, it does not help that the dialogue in this show doubles down on its contempt with excruciating humor via name-calling pot shots.
White girl with too much money. White girl with too much money. You don't know me.
Oh, and don't even get me started on the self-aware comedic tone. Oh, this moment happening right now is like a show that we are acknowledging right now, and it's tropes, but we are not a show, and we wouldn't do the trope, but we're going to do the trope after all.
The only hook a good show ever needs is good storytelling. Then why was your favorite part of the Riverdale pilot when Betty and Veronica kissed?
Well, because I was instantly called out as tired in the scene.
No, it's because it was hot.
You could have it both ways. No, you can't.
You don't come out the gate with said tone, then to fall back on it time and time again is incredibly annoying. Yes, we get it. The characters know that they're in a show. Immersion broken and tension forsaken. Well done. Who cares? This kind of writing only works when the characters are, how do you put it? Good. For example, take Granddad from the Boondocks. In one episode, he's with a guy who's like, oh, I'm actually the son of you. But Granddad does not know that yet. They're at a strip club. And like, both their stories sync up so perfectly, but Granddad is so oblivious, so overwhelmingly ignorant that he says things like, there's no chance that could be related to me. Haha. I'm like, that's funny. It's like that in application is funny to me because he's just that dense.
I always wondered what happened to her. I guess I never know. Gone for good. I would never, ever in a million years know what happened to her. Oh, well. You know, my mom's name is Marietta. Really? What a random, completely unrelated coincidence that had nothing to do with me.
Even the animation is subpar. It's very stiff and rigid for the most part, with very little anticipation and exaggeration, which in turn makes the movement of these characters look weightless and lack impact. Now, there are some moments of quality animation, specific names, but those scenes are few and far between. Now, I did mention that there were some positives in this show, and that includes the designs of the characters. I know folks don't like the race swapping, and they're like, that's not my Shaggy, you know, but like, just sit down, relax, hear me out, look at the designs. They're really damn good. A wonderful use of different shapes in the faces of the gang of Scooby, where it was separate from the actual timeline. In concept and writing, it could have worked. And you tried. These designs, they tried. But you were stuck with some pretty bad writing, so what can you do? Speaking of terrible writing, the audacity of this show to borrow from Mean Girls, right? Oh, Velma and Daphne were childhood friends who now hate each other in high school. Okay, sure. Why not? And by the way, I admittedly had a Velma is gay on my bingo card because, I don't know, I felt like that's becoming a bit more of a modern trope with the main character, you know, like here's the old character long ago and now they're gay, which is like, again, that's fine. You can do that. But make it good. Build up, set the table.
I think you can forgo the lost and found
That came
report.
out of nowhere. It was not earned. It was so poorly done. You could have built up to that moment. You could have had them grow closer as friends first, maybe. But no, you went right for the cheap shot. That sucks so hard. Be it hetero or homo or whatever. That wasn't good. That's bad writing. And this series, might I add, just feels hurried, but also relies on, like, telling rather than showing. Exposition, exposition, exposition. Just Velma dumping her story, which is, like, pretty bizarre because the Scooby franchise is based on, what was that again? Oh, mystery. How can you screw that up? Where's your pacing? Rather than, again, setting the table for an emotional journey, they just bum rush Velma's tragic background, convoluted story, and then expect the audience to be invested in a character who has a repulsive personality. Hell, I hope the monsters win, or whatever old guy's wearing a mask. I hope that they win. Overall, this series sucks. Just undeniably blows. And I doubt it will improve as the season proceeds on. Now, I saw the headline about season 2 being announced, but that was already, like, confirmed back in 2022. It's automatic renewal, especially with names as big as Mindy. Now, I know some folks are saying that HBO Max, like, deliberately made a bad thing, being like, oh, it's hot trash in order to get hate clicks and hate watching. Folks, I think you're giving them way too much credit. It is just bad. That's what we have here. It's just bad leadership, a bad director, bad show leaders who are, like, unopposed when it comes to creative feedback. Like, I'm sure that there are folks who are like, this is not good, but, like, we don't want to get fired, so we won't speak up. That's who I suspect. So yeah, if you want to watch something good in this vein, go watch Venture Brothers or Mike Tyson's Mysteries instead. Your brain cells will thank you for it. But hey, if the show actually improves, I will admit I was wrong. But again, I highly doubt that.
Get on, Scooby! It just dawned on me. Scooby! Doopy!
A new year, a new me. And I'm trying my best to save money, which can be honestly challenging at times. Everything is digital for me. I'm constantly trying to stay on top of monthly expenses and statements. But that's when Rocket Money comes to the rescue. It's an all-in-one finance platform that helps you save more and spend less. Your personal finance manager allows you to manage subscriptions, lower bills, monitor your credit score, and build your savings. All in one place. With it, I was able to lower my bills and set monthly budgets that monitor my spending and keeps me on my toes. I even get notifications when I go over, which is very helpful. Sorry, Lego Fund, you've hit your limit.
No! No!
Down the cancel button that these websites hide from clear sight. But Rocket gives you that option right in front of you. Easy as that. So head over to rocket.com/SaveRSpark or click the link in the description down below. You can also scan the QR code on the screen too. Go check them out today.
Sheesh, talk about pure evil, but don't worry. This is a revenge series. Marry My Husband is a new webcomic series on Webtoon. This series stars Jiwon, a 37-year-old cancer patient who's living out her last moments in the hospital. And what's worse...
Cars is a Disney Pixar animated film released in 2006 and was the seventh film released by Pixar Animation Studios. This film followed a string of emotionally evocative and intellectually stimulating films just 2 movies after the industry-changing Finding Nemo. The success of the studio is predicated on taking the typical gimmicks of Hollywood animated movies and subverting their juvenility with examinations of emotional depth, creative visual direction, and stellar voice acting. Pixar defied all expectations that each subsequent film would fall short of its predecessor. Even a sequel to their debut movie, Toy Story 2, was far more than just a shallow reprisal of all the same themes of the first, in a period of Hollywood history when sequels were hollow recreations of their prior installments. For the studio's early history, it seemed that they were the real deal, that even if they were directing their films primarily to be accessible to all ages, They would treat animation with dignity and integrity, in spite of being a subsidiary of Disney. Disney, after all, at the time, was looking for ways to collect prestige without diluting the Disney brand, as per their offshoots of Touchstone Pictures and Miramax. Pixar was granting them prestige in animation that typical cartoons could not. However, as Disney's in-house animation projects began to flounder, does anyone remember Home on the Range? They needed to perpetuate that good old Disneyness somehow. Lucky for Disney, Pixar was about to allow the Mouse's brand into their studio with Cars, which, from the initial ads, audiences pegged as it being a little more corporate. When it was released, it was decried as soulless and not really having any other purpose but to sell toys. And in spite of the success of Pixar's other films, Toy Story notwithstanding, Cars was the first to get a sequel. Which is interesting because it also has one of the least impressive box office performances of any pre-pandemic Pixar film. And indeed, whatever soul the first movie had, the second one had less, effectively accomplishing nothing but giving Larry the Cable Guy a feature-length stand-up gig, and confirming that 9/11 occurred in the Cars universe, which means that the Cars Cold War existed, which means that there was a Cars nuclear arms race, which means that Cars World War II happened, which demands the existence of Cars Hitler, and subsequently the Cars assassination of Cars Grand Duke Franz Ferdinand, which, through the Cars Holy Roman Empire, we can only extrapolate that there was a bubonic plague in the Cars universe. As much as this may seem tongue-in-cheek, it's highlighting a very key problem that developed in Pixar. Whereas before, they would take a concept like Monsters in the Closet or Anthill Politics and build a world around that. The studio used absurdity and scale to either integrate the plausibility of their plot into our world, or, like The Incredibles, would dismiss plausibility and cultural identification altogether. For this reason, Cars seemed half-baked. Was it in this world or not? Where was America's free and where was it just kind of doing its own thing? But of course that matters less than itself. Can't see.